Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. I'm your host, James Kylaris Carroll, and to my left, joining me here, I have Mr. In Control, I have Pig as well, looking at his phone, and that's the desk. Thank you very much. Let's go over to the commentary team.
Really? Wow. And we're here. We're ready for a TVP of the ages, Roddy. It is going to be Mr. GSL himself, Maru, going up against Alex Neeb. Thundershaft.
They have played against each other a couple of times already. Of course, we all remember that series of BlizzCon, but they also played against each other in the GSL once. But in both scenarios, things just didn't go very well for Neeb. It's not even that he lost, but it felt like all of his Protoss units were heat-seeking missiles towards Widow Mine somewhere on the map. Just everything that could have possibly ran into a mine somehow ran or flew into a mine. So historically, things don't look too great for Neeb. They've had 3 series. The score was always 2-0, 2-0, 2-0 in favor of Maru. But today Maru looks very vulnerable, he looks quite beatable, and maybe this is the moment where Neeb can actually get it done and get a massive victory over Maru.
He's mortal, he bleeds. That means we can kill it.
It's more than bleeding at this point. I feel like he's lost a couple of limbs already. I mean, he's down 0-2.
But he's Maru, so normally they grow back.
That is true. I mean, that's a Cell Saga, right?
That's right.
He can regenerate, but it's obviously going to be do or die for this man from this point on. 0-2 in the group. Nobody would have ever predicted this. Let's see if he can turn it around. Spawning on the left top side of King's Cove. It is the one and only Maru.
Could not be more excited about this series. In the bottom right here, hailing from America, it is Ting's Neeb.
Neeb, of course, had a good start to this group. As we saw, he won that very close series over Lambo. Had to fight really, really hard for it, especially that first map. So that was nice, but the second series went a little less good. Pick showed us some of the highlight clips from it on the desk in the previous segment. So he fell to trap. No man overboard yet. No need to panic if you're Neeb or if you're a Neeb fan. But it would be very, very sweet to win this one. Going 2-1 or 1-2 is obviously a massive difference, and it's going to make it a little bit easier going into those remaining 2 best-of-3s as well. But this is freaking Maru we talk about. And normally, on any given other day, we'd be like, yeah, it's probably not going to happen for Neeb.
Yeah.
But today, it seems possible.
Maru losing the trap, I was like, you know what? Yeah, okay. I could see him losing the trap from time to time. Maru losing to Lenok, I'm like, less likely, but you know, Lenok's quite good, so okay, I can buy it. Maru losing to Neeb. Now that would be a first time. That would be a first time that's ever happened.
Yep. And that would also be the end of Maru. I mean,
it is, yes.
Especially if he would lose 0-2. If he would lose 1-2, maybe there's some crazy weird 3-way scenario. Because once again, if you guys just joined us, 3 players will advance out of this 6-man group. But there's a massive difference between finishing first, second, or third. If you finish first, you'll get seeded into the quarterfinals. If you make top 3, so you finish second or third, then you go up against one of the other second or third place finishes from the remaining groups. But of course, that's still a lot better than finishing fourth, because if you finish fourth, it just ends here.
You're done and dusted.
Done and dusted.
On the plane home, get out of here. We've got an Adept opening here from Neeb, Maru. So doing a pretty regular just build back at home, going to Reactor after the Reaper. Now, did he get a Marine after the Reaper? Nope, straight into Reactor. So this is a build that young The Muslim has talked about. Generally leads into a Raven, into a 2-base push.
This is a pretty big map though. Now there are a couple of good pushes possible, because Protoss will often take their third base on the left side of the main where Neeb is currently spawning, and then there are some gnarly places where tanks can siege up on the low ground, but can actually, maybe a little bit higher than that. That's very far away. But as long as you're in range of that Nexus or you're in range of some probes, you can really apply a lot of pressure. But once again, it's a pretty big map. That means you're gonna have to dodge a lot of potential stasis traps, because there is a Stargate being warped in at this point. But even when it comes to Stalkers trying to cut off reinforcements, all of those things are very possible for Protoss to deal with any sort of a 2-base push of Terran here.
Now we see the Tech Lab getting down there on the factory with the starport soon to follow. And with this quick reactor, Maru is going to get plenty of Marines out to be able to deal with the potential couple of Adepts that hit that natural. So he's very, very safe at the moment. And the Reaper coming in to confirm if there's anything else that he needs to know about from Neeb. At the moment, he scouted the Stargate, so he knows about that. And with just a Polar Marines, you're just fine against Stargate as long as they're well positioned. Also a Cyclone if you want to be super, super safe rather than sorry, which we're seeing on the way from Maru now.
Wow, Macfield Accelerator as well. Okay.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Actually, a bit surprised about that one. I thought he was going to maybe swap the attack lab over.
That's what I thought. Into Raven, usually.
Yep, Raven or maybe Cloak Banshees, because maybe Maru just feels like he should survive for as long as possible. But the Macfield Accelerator, I'm actually a little bit surprised by. There are a couple of weird builds that we've seen Maru use in the past as well, where he indeed has 2 or sometimes even 3 Vikings in the mix, and then you can land the Vikings as well if there's nothing to shoot in the air anymore. And Vikings and Cyclones at the same time can actually get quite some work done. That is a pretty big revelation, because it spots the tech lab, and it spots that the tech lab is researching something, because you can see, you know, it's shining, it's spinning.
It's sucking in dots from somewhere,
yep.
You know?
It's doing something. So at this point, Neeb is like, oh, okay, Macfield Accelerator. Now, Neeb is going for Blink. That's a little bit risky. Stalkers are awesome, don't get me wrong, but often these pushes of Terran, they happen before Blink is done.
Wow, they certainly do. Usually researchers during the battle here. And we are going to see those Stalkers get warped in for Neeb, also getting his shield battery up. Looks like his shield battery might actually be in the main mineral line.
It's
no, it's actually by the natural there.
Yep.
Okay.
It's way in the front. So Neeb is indeed expanding where we expected him to expand. But Maru's already moving out. This is such a fast push. I wonder if Maru knows about that stasis trap. I kind of like when he put it.
Viking.
Okay. He didn't put it in a super obvious spot. Now the Cyclones are done. A couple of SCVs are going to be brought along this ride as well. Of course, Maru could still switch things up and go for the natural. But don't forget, there is a shield battery. Wow, Neeb is wiping in 2 forges while Maru is going, I don't want to call it an all-out push, but this seems like a push you should respect quite a bit. Neeb is like, nah, double forge, why not?
Yeah, these SCVs are coming here to make some bunkers as well. That Oracle gets tagged and bagged here by the Viking and the Cyclone. So there goes his easy scout. Forcefield actually could cover this gap. Forcefield will block it.
Yeah, but maybe he wants to save it for Guardian Shield as well. Guardian Shield obviously pretty big against all these Marines, but he's instead going for the double Forcefield. He shapes up a couple of Marines. So far, so good for Neeb, I'd say, because that shield battery really came in handy.
It certainly did, and these Stalkers are also helping out get rid of some of these factory units. In fact, the Viking getting targeted down. One of these low hit point backwards, nicely micro by Maru back into the back line with that tank to cover it. And this bunker is about to finish up. Neeb has got a huge worker lead here, Ronnie.
He has 57. I mean, Neeb really did not respect this very much at all. Sure, it's a big map, but 57 probes, double forge as well. That shield battery is going to go down, but there are quite some Stalkers. And obviously, with this economy, every second that goes by, Neeb is going to be able to wipe in more and more units, but that was a good save there by Maru.
Yeah, nice hot pick up there into the medevac. I thought Neeb had that for sure. Warping in more and more Stalkers as he can. At the moment, his army consists of 6 of them in 2 sentries, which isn't a convincing Protoss army, as I'm sure you'll agree. The tank doing quite a bit here for Maru as well behind those rocks, with the second tank joining up. This is getting rough for Neeb.
The amount of times that Cyclone should have gone down already, man, is kind of ridiculous. It really should have been picked off 2 or even 3 times. And again, Maru saves it. Maru, you're ridiculous at this point, because this really made all the difference. Now it just kept locking on Stalker after Stalker. And when Neeb's economy looked so good and the ability to wipe in a lot of units looked so freaking good, suddenly he's starting to run very, very low on units.
That's actually a slow warp in on that pylon over on the right-hand side as well for Neeb. These Zealots, which are going to be pretty important, honestly, to tank some of those shots while the Stalkers do damage to the back. Would be pretty handy right now, but Neeb is just losing units. He's bleeding out resources. The natural is going to go down.
And he's going to rebuild the Nexus somewhere else, because maybe he's going to feel like he can save these probes by just recalling them to a different base. But Neeb is just low on gateways, man. Look at the amount of minerals he has in the bank. That double forge was not the right call. Imagine if he was on 8 gates all along. I'm absolutely convinced that Neeb would have cleaned up this push a while ago.
Potentially the wrong call here from Neeb, and he's being punished for it by Maru, who, well, he's getting kind of some of his big reinforcements caught. That Raven is still alive. That would be a massive pick-off, but getting the tank is quite nice. However, Maru is not done yet. He sees the other Nexus here. He's going to be able to hold on this high ground. Neeb's recalling these 5 Stalkers to come back home. He has some Stalkers on the high ground. Blink on that tank. Takes it down. And a hot pick up from Maru trying to get it to the main base. Neeb has enough to clean up the units at the 3rd. What about the main base?
Yeah, eventually I think Neeb is going to be fine here. I mean, he didn't really use the forges. Did he even start +1 ever? Because he has armor finishing up, but nope. So that's kind of funny, because now he's chrono boosting an empty forge.
Maybe didn't have the gas.
That's true. So Neeb, in a weird way, does hold. Yeah, he lost the Nexus and he lost quite a few probes, and I don't love this game that much for Neeb anymore, especially not now because he's out of position to deal with this drop again, so he ends up losing a few more probes. But I must say, really good job moving out with the Stalkers, because if he would have kept trying to bust the bunker and that one Cyclone that just refused to say die, then eventually it would have probably been even worse. But I think Maru is still very, very happy with how that went. He's up a worker. How often do we say that? Terran is up a worker. And Neeb, despite the fact that he might get up to 4 bases, it's going to be hard for him to really get something else than what he's currently working with, right? Like, when is he going to get Colossus? When is he going to get, I mean, Storm? I don't even know what I would prefer here. I'd probably go for Colossus because of the double forge, but his upgrades, in all honesty, are a little bit underwhelming because he never started +1.
For all you guys at home wondering, oh, you know, the numbers are really close, what are they talking about? There's about to be a big production spike for Terran where they're going to have an army supply lead and also an upgrade lead for a little bit. Don't forget also Stim and Combat Shield are going to be finished, which is something that's extremely scary for Neeb to have to deal with. And we're seeing the Robo go up at home for him.
That is the first Robo, correct? I mean, I think he didn't really build a Robo before that. It's so crazy that he went double forge even before a Robo as well, while he was getting pushed. Good job there by Maru, man. Maru is absolutely on point so far. Sure, these Marines will go down, but the fact that he even managed to save that medevac and also picked off one of these Stalkers, these are all these small things that you need to do well as a Terran player to have a chance against a Protoss as good as Neeb. And yeah, Neeb's army looks good. The funny thing about Neeb's army is that it really falls off at a certain point. Maru makes a massive push right now though, and I'm not sure if I'm really feeling this push, because this is where I still truly believe in the power of the Zealot, but maybe with a massive anti-armor missile.
Yeah, that's what I was about to mention.
Then I do think Maru has a good shot here, but he only has 1 medevac. It's a little bit risky what Maru's doing here.
Oh, that's a pretty good missile right there. Neeb just to pull back out of tank range because he does not want to fight with the cover of that siege tank. Oh, he's coming in with those Zealots, but they die so quickly here to the Stim Bio with their 1-1 upgrades. Medevac support as well, keeping them alive during their Stims. The Raven's still here with plenty of energy as well. Tanks, once again, 4 of them doing sick damage from the back. Maru takes a great trade.
Yeah, why did I even question Maru there? His micro has been absolutely phenomenal throughout the entirety of this game. That anti-armor missile was perfect, the tanks were safe. Neeb was not able to set up some sort of a flank, so he had no units coming in from any other angle other than this one. Neeb is going to try to get one more time to get on top of these tanks, and this time he sort of succeeds in doing so, but all of the Zealots are gone, Maynard.
Yeah, and without the Zealots, you don't have a meat shield for these juicy Stalkers, which are so easy to take out with Stim Marauders and so easy to take out with tanks as well. I like this from Maru, getting a tank up on the high ground, making it harder for Neeb to get those take out those tanks with the Zealots like he has been. Maru just reinforcing and rallying this push. Neeb's trying to get a robotics bay up for what, Disruptor?
A second Robo, a robotics bay, and a Templar Archives while Maru is knocking on his front door. It's like, Neeb is showing no respect to any of these Terran pushes, but I'm afraid that this is the wrong call for real, because he needs to clean up this push, and I don't see how any of those tech buildings are going to help out in doing that.
I mean, when he had close army supply, he had a chance, but at the moment it doesn't look like he really does at all. He's got half the army supply of Maru right now, who's going to take out this Nexus very easily, and while Neeb does have 4 more where that came from, he doesn't really have an army, Rotterdam.
That is the most bizarre production tab I've ever seen, while Terran is like knocking on the door of your fort base. He's gonna warp in a few more Zealots, so another Nexus went down. Neeb is trying to do whatever he can, blinks forward, wants to get a couple of these medevacs, but I think Maru's firepower is just too much.
Certainly is. GG. Maru getting game number 1 there. I was actually feeling it for Neeb after that hole. I was like, hey, you lost your natural. This looks really bad, but that call to get the Nexus outside and just keep his production and a lot of his probes still alive, getting away with the double forge and managing to get like a big gateway unit army up, I thought, oh, Neeb maybe has a chance here. I like this a lot. Not much splash damage, but a good gateway army.
I think there were many ways to look at this game. I felt at one point I want to be critical of Neeb. The double forge may not necessarily be a mistake, but if you do go double forge, then please use it. And also, despite the fact that he went double forge while the push was coming, he should have had some extra gateways. He was simply floating too much money. If you think of how close those battles were at his natural, against that tank, against that Cyclone that just refused to die, with 3 or 4 extra gateways, he would have been able to spend those 900 minerals. I'm convinced he deals with that push a lot better, but that's maybe the negative Nancy side in me. The positive is like, oh my god, Maru, your micro during that push was absolutely ridiculous. The amount of times that he picked up that Cyclone with Stalker shots in mid-air already, by the way. So it's not just that he saves a unit. No, the shots of Neeb become completely useless because he saves it in the medevac over and over again. So those Stalkers are doing nothing. Incredibly, incredibly well done there by Maru, but I think we can be a little critical of Neeb.
I agree with you there. I mean, sure, Maru has had a rough start to this group here, going down against people that perhaps, a lot of people out there are surprised to see him go down to, but this is still Maru.
That looked phenomenal.
He is still an incredible Terran, if not the best in the world. And he's up 1-0 here against Neeb, who also is an incredible Protoss and has the ability within himself to be able to win this series. But Maru looking so dominant in game 1.
Neeb still waiting for that first map win over Maru in an official match. They've only played 3 times before this, but 3 times 2-0 at one point is like, that's becoming a little ugly, you know? Like a 6-0, okay. This ends up with 8-0 historically, and this is all within the last year and a half, by the way, guys. That's where it gets a little bit painful, but we'll see. Anyway, it is good to see this man turning things around and looking a little more like the Terran we all know and love. In the right bottom side of Cyber Forest, it's Maru.
And the top left, represented by Ting, the American Protoss. This is Neeb. Whoa, that was a close one.
Not gonna lie, I like King's Cove a little bit better for Neeb than I like Cyber Forest. Cyber Forest is the smallest map we currently have in our map pool, from ramp to ramp or natural to natural. It really doesn't take that long for Terran to make its way to the other side of the map. And if Maru can make a push as scary and good as he did on the King's Cove, a map that's like 1.5 times the size, if he would do something similar, it's really important that Neeb switches it up, because if you barely hold on King's Cove, you're not going to hold in Cyber Forest. It's going to arrive so much quicker, it's going to hit so much harder. He needs to switch things up.
A very popular map for 2-base all-ins. SCV pools. Juanito was trying that in these series earlier in Group A.
So Neeb is going to build his first gateway on the low ground. That's something, of course, we see very often in Protoss vs Zerg. But in Protoss vs Terran, it's somewhat popular as well, because every now and then you can decide to chrono boost either your first Adept or your first Stalker, and you can run it to the other side of the map. And if Terran goes for the most traditional Reaper, fast expand, reactor, there often is no answer against even a probe that's working on an SCV. Then you drag the Reaper home, but then your Zealot or your Stalker or your Adept can just run to the other side of the map. We'll see if Neeb decides to do that, or if he just wants to have a wall up against the Reaper and make sure that the Reaper doesn't hop into his main base.
This ledge being walled off has been pretty popular in this map so far. It feels like every Protoss or every PvT that we saw in Group A, this was denied here, either by just the pylon, or this time is going to be by the Cybercore. And that makes it a little bit of a shorter run for this Adept to get across the map as well.
Yep. Did he chrono boost it? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, so he did chrono boost that first Adept. Now Maru knows immediately he's going to have to respect this quite a bit. Alive, actually, a couple of times just was like, you know what, I can't even be bothered to deal with this, and immediately pulled both SCVs from the low ground. I really like that Neeb kept his probe around, because obviously if you hit the SCV, suddenly it only takes 2 hits for an Adept to kill an SCV. This is actually a really cool play, and Maru is going to have a somewhat annoying time getting his CC up. Obviously, he will get it eventually, and the moment that the Reaper and the Hellion and the Marines all work on this Adept will fall. But look at the amount of time that Neeb is already buying for himself, already up in the workers and delaying this command center by quite a bit. I like it, man.
I like it as well. The Twilight Council opening here from Neeb. That robo shenaniganry that we're seeing all of the Protoss loving in this matchup.
Maybe some good old Stalker Zealot this time, just straight up.
Straight up Stalker Zealot. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty good. 2 Adepts finishing here, going for those Marine kills.
Very ambitious here. I'm not sure if I'm really digging this one. I mean, sure, you get a couple of Marines, but if he ends up losing both Adepts, he really wants that SCV. Can he get the SCV? Yes, he does. Well, in that way, it was kind of worth it, because now he's delaying that command center even longer. And Maru's like, come on, man.
You can see that shot there of Maru. He's outpouring emotion and frustration visibly there.
No, there was a tiny one. He's like, oh, you know, there's like the
I'm
slight,
just teasing.
Slight rolled eyes, like, oh, come on.
Wow, we got that 3rd gas being taken here in the natural. Is Neeb going to go for the 4th as well? If not, we might be seeing a gateway explosion.
This worker count is pretty sick at the moment. Obviously, because Maru's command center has been delayed for so freaking long, he's not been able to produce any SCVs. And because you can only produce SCVs from one base, yeah, you're always going to fall behind as a Terran player against Protoss and their chrono boost. But now it hurts extra much, because your mules are later, but the ability to produce 2 SCVs has been delayed very much as well.
Good hallucinated finish there from Neeb, seeing the Tech Lab starport. Of course, you would have loved to have seen the Tech Lab spinning, like if he was getting cloak or something like that, or if anything was in production with the Tech Lab, then you can think, oh, it's a Raven. And in this case, it is going to be the Raven being made here by Maru with those tanks coming out as well. And when the Raven comes out, you start to scream 2-base attack, because the Raven is so good at locking down those scary Protoss units.
I really love the way that Neeb has played this so far. I love his build. I mean, I understand some of these Colossus builds that are all the rage and hype right now, don't get me wrong, but I still actually think that this is often the most optimal way to play, especially against Terran on some of these smaller maps. Now, the Viking landing in the back of the main base, this actually does really hurt, because this is not a Hail Mary play or something by Maru. And same time, he's getting a Hellion in the natural that doesn't get any kills, but it scared Neeb for a little bit. But that's a lot of value he just got out out of a single Viking, and that's really what Maru needed to get back into this game.
Did Maru see whether or not Neeb got a 4th gas? No, I didn't even see the others, so...
Maybe he saw no probes mining though, because you see the probes on the left side carrying gas, but he had vision of the path, he just didn't see the assimilator.
Yeah, true that, true that. So Maru has a fair bit of information thanks to that attack there from the Alien, if not probe kills.
Where is... Oh, wow, he's not getting charged, he's actually going for a roll away here. Okay, so he opened up with very quick blink, but he's not following it up with charge. I'm a little bit surprised by this one, because Neeb really played it out like he was going to go for Zealots and charge. Instead, he wants to switch it up and go for a Robo Bay here. Now, I assume this is going to be for Colossus, because everybody loves Colossus at this point. But against a 2-base all-in with a Raven, I may actually fancy some Disruptors as well.
Yeah, Disruptors are actually deceptively good against this kind of style. And Neeb coming up to poke the natural with his Stalk is going to eat a tank shot and probably get out of there.
You see, I have the feeling that Maru was reading this the way that I was reading this, right? Like a couple Stalkers with Blink and Observer and then a million Zealots, because you're going up to 3 bases very quickly. That's why Maru is making Widow Mines at this point. Now, Mines are good against almost all Protoss units, don't get me wrong, but they're a lot better against Zealots than they are against Colossus.
Neeb's going to struggle to find too much damage here. He shaves off a Marine, maybe get a Marauder kill, but that's going to be about it. There's a lot here from Maru. Nice little bit of Blink Micro from Neeb, actually.
Yeah, but he doesn't get that much out of it, right? And you want to be a little bit careful because some of that HP will never regenerate back. So how many tanks does Maru currently have? Can we take a look at that? One tank. I think if Maru knew that he's going up against a Colossus build, which he obviously has not identified yet, I think he would like another tank or so. I don't think you really want to get that many Widow Mines. The Observer goes down, a couple Stalker, at least one Stalker went down as well. I feel like Maru baited Neeb there a little bit.
I think, though, with the Raven, even though, yes, the tanks are going to be pretty fantastic against it, I think with the Raven, you can still take it out of contention and use the Widow Mines to deal with, well, I mean, we're seeing charge on the way from Neeb.
Yeah.
The Widow Mines are going to be effective in that regard, dealing with the gateway units.
No, you're spot on. I mean, obviously, Maru went up to 5 barracks as well. He's not really showing us any signs that he wants to expand. Last game, he did expand behind his push. This time, Maynard, I have the feeling he may pull an SCV or 2 as well, or 22.
I'm with you there, man. I think this is this screams boy pool here against Neeb. I mean, as far as splash damage goes, it's going to be relegated to the Colossi. Nice little pick off there. Anytime you pick off a Stalker here and there, it doesn't look like a lot, but it actually matters quite a bit.
That's a big scan there by Maru, because Maru scanned the natural. He's like, all right, that still doesn't tell me anything. I don't see units. I do see you take another gas, so there's a chance that this is going to be more than just Zealots. Then he spots the Colossus, but once again, oh my goodness, he's going to go for a massive drop into the main base.
Does he have enough medevacs to do that?
I don't know. What is he going to do with those? Okay, he is going to triple drop and then maybe use the rest of his army to push on the south side of the third base of Neeb. Maru, what are you doing? Obviously, he knows there is no observer seeing this because he's got a Raven with the army. Neeb is probably wondering, when is this push coming? Like, I know you're about to push. Now, Maru does expand. It's a very late expand, though. This means that Maru needs to do damage in the next minute of this game.
Neeb's coming down here with all of his focus to that third base, but Maru is trying to go for the bamboozle here. A massive drop at the main base. Neeb does have some army in position, though. And there's the Raven getting the Interference Matrix on that Colossus. Is taken out of the battle. The Widow Mine's leading the charge here against this gateway army of Neeb. They take the big Widow Mine hits. The Colossus on its own is quite vulnerable, but it looks like a second one's popped out of the main base. That's the last bit of energy on this Raven's got one more Interference Matrix on it, and that's going to be it. He picks off one of those Colossus in the main mineral line. And Neeb does deflect the third base, but reeling in for the natural. Will he have enough to clean up Maru's drop?
Well, obviously, Neeb lost a couple of expensive units here in the main base, but overall, I think I'm quite okay with it if I'm Neeb. He's up 20 workers. And yeah, he lost the Colossus, but he also picked off almost everything else that Maru had to work with.
Oh,
Maru is, yeah, the mine shots were nice there, but these are trades that Neeb is very okay with. He's going up to 4 bases. He's up 22 workers still at this point in the game. I don't think that was enough for Maru, and it obviously wasn't a total disaster, don't get me wrong. He traded, but if you're behind economically and quite far in this case,
oh my god,
trades is not what you're looking for.
Maru's loading up some medevacs for another big drop here. I think the Observer might have just caught the edge of it. And I always start to get a little bit anxious when I see a medevac with so much supply inside of it with so few hit points. I get a little bit worried here for Maru. Neeb, I think, might have seen it. He's got some Stalkers in the main base.
Yep, does he have enough Stalkers in the main base? He's going to get a couple Zealots as well. That's going to make a pretty big difference, but the Zealots are not there yet.
Oh, he gets that medevac before it fully unloads. Neeb's got some Zealots on the front line. The Colossus getting locked down one more time, pulls back into the natural. Neeb's defensive force, though, getting carved into pieces here from Maru's drop.
Yep, Neeb wiped in a lot of additional Zealots, and maybe the Zealots can make the difference. One of the Forges does go down, but it wasn't really researching anything, and this should be more than enough Zealots to deal with these Marauders. Maru needs more. Maru looks for an opening, this time on the south side. The shield batteries are putting in overtime.
With his gateways finishing up, looks like Neeb's going to have another warp in round here for the Zealots, which means that Maru's going to be deflected again. Nice blink micro this time from Neeb, not taking that Widowmine damage. And while Maru did have a big army supply advantage, he doesn't really get any more.
I think Maru is going to go for one super massive drop in the main base right now. He's gonna sync up all of his forces. He's like, I see you leave plenty of units on the south side over and over again to deal with my multi-prong. In this case, I'm gonna drop everything in the main, but that's so many Zealots. It's really hard to drop on top of this many Zealots. I don't know if you can do that, Maru. He's gonna try to avoid it. This is so risky.
It is so risky, and it's a Hail Mary play from Maru, but it might not work out. Neeb's going for the recall, and he brings the Colossus in for the third base. So much splash damage. Maru lights up again, but gets his Medivacs taken down. Maru is not going to work out this time. Neeb holds pretty strongly.
Yep, Maru still has units on the south side as well. He's going to try to hit this fourth base. By the way, Neeb going up to 5 bases, guys. 5 bases during all of this. He did rebuild one of his forges as well, so once again, double upgrades are on the way. No recall available this time, of course, but it seems like Neeb's forces are in position. Neeb is playing a pretty freaking fantastic game so far, Maynard.
This Widowmine's going to get a bunch of probes there. 4 go down, does die. But that's a nice pick-off, and Maru's got a bunch of supply in the top left of the map here, just chilling these Medivacs, because he can't really escape. There's no recall for Terran, so it's just kind of sitting there, and Neeb's waiting for it. He's sharking out there, looking for those that Terran supply that's in those Medivacs.
Neeb's been defending for the last 11 minutes of this game, ever since he stopped poking with these Stalkers, I guess. He's like, you know what, maybe I should try to expand one. If you throw Medivac after Medivac and bio-wave after bio-wave at me, how much do you really have a dome? The answer is really not that much. Now, obviously, Maru knows with all of those units out of position, he can start doing some damage as well. But Neeb's army, Neeb is maxed out. Neeb's army is massive.
Maru managed to sneak past this army of Neeb. Going to try and drop towards a 3rd or 4th Nexus here. But Neeb pushing forward against Maru. I don't see him getting slowed down by Maru's defensive forces. And when he gets on that production, that's all she wrote for Terran.
Yep, Neeb shut down the 3rd base of Maru already. He's in the natural of Maru. He has picked up 44 SCVs. There are no Liberators to defend this ramp or something either. So it's just a few bio units against 4 Colossus and a lot of Stalkers, a lot of Zealots as well. I think Neeb is about to finally win his first game in an official tournament against Maru.
His first map ever against Maru in a big tournament. You spotted it, Roddy. History in the making right here. Can it not only be his first map, but his first series against Maru? That'd be a massive moment for Neeb if it does happen. We are going to Game 3. Beautiful played Game 2 by Neeb. I have to commend him. That was almost flawless.
That was incredibly good. I really thought he didn't see that first big drop of Maru. And then suddenly we were following Maru's first-person view. Flies into the main base. There is a Colossus there. Got maybe a little bit fortunate with the timing of that second Colossus, but he had units in position. Neeb read Maru like a book. The start, of course, was phenomenal. It doesn't look like much, right? Like one adapt, it's a bit annoying, but he created such a big economic advantage for himself. And then he just had one job. Make sure to capitalize on it. Make sure to not throw it away and lose probes on the other side of the map. And he didn't. Absolutely awesome defense by Neeb.
And Maru tried to pull a rabbit out of the hat there with that big doom drop. But as you could see that with these Medivacs, you can tell when a Terran is frustrated and doesn't know what to do. When the Medivacs are going forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, they scan the main like, do I do it? Do I not do it? That's a lot of stuff.
It's funny, because I really wonder how this game would have gone if Maru would have scouted a little bit faster that Neeb was opening up Colossus, that it was just blink into Colossus. Because then I feel that instead of building 1 tank, that's actually in a dream scenario, guys, where you want to go 3, 4 tanks. And Cyber Forest is an amazing map for some of those, 3, 4 tank pushes against any sort of a Colossus build. And yeah, Widowmines are good, but that Protoss army is not about the Zealots anymore. It's about the Colossus and it's about the Blink Stalkers. The Zealots are just kind of there to soak up some shots and maybe activate some mines and even create some friendly fire.
And Neeb has already made history in his career of getting a map here on Maru, but he wants more. He wants a series win here. He wants his chances in Group B to be real.
And this is really bad for Maru, of course, as well, that if Maru would lose this series, I said before, there are some scenarios where you can actually advance out of your group with 2 wins and 3 losses in best of 3s. But at that point, you need to make sure you've got a very good map score. That's not the case for Maru, because now even if he wins this one, he's going to be 2-1. He already has an 0-2 defeat versus Trap as well. This just becomes a must-win game right now for this man.
This man in the top left, he is the Terran in question. It is Jin Air Greenwings, Maru. Won every GSL last year, every single one. Couldn't win the World Final in the end.
On his way to winning those GSLs, he did take care of this American Protoss once, but today it seems like a tougher cookie to crack. Representing Ting, the right bottom side of Kairos Junction, it is Neeb.
Hailing from America.
We don't need to add that. Everybody knows. Ooh, ooh.
Aye, aye, aye.
Okay. Double gas as well as follow-up by Maru. Now, there are some crazy Terran builds out there where you can go all out one base aggression, but there's also a lot of Terran builds where you open up with the first barracks being proxied, but then you just build the factory at home and you just kind of take the game from there.
Yeah, Maru going back to his old roots here, dropping a proxy against a Protoss in a series. Neeb is getting a good vision of the main base, and of course you have to scan the entire main here with this probe because, you know, they could always be hiding as barracks inside the main base to try and bamboozle you. Neeb is not one to be bamboozled.
Neeb is going to go Cybernetics Core before Nexus, so that's obviously a little bit safer than going Nexus before Cybernetics Core, because the quicker you have that core, the quicker you can make your first Stalker or Adapt and deal with any sort of Terran aggression. We're going to keep a close eye on the main base of Maru and on this SCV, but since this SCV is not really doing anything hidden, I'm just going to assume he's going to build a factory at home. There we do have it. I think Neeb is actually kind of okay with most of these kind of builds, man. If there's one thing I love about Neeb, is that in general he just builds an insane amount of probes. I've seen him play games against Terrans that try to mind game him so hard that he's like, nah, I'm just gonna build probes, and actually gets away with it most of the time. Now this proxy barracks of Maru obviously doesn't need to kill Neeb here, but it would be very nice if he gets, let's say, at least 2 probes, but preferably you want to get 3 as a Terran.
Definitely nice control here from Neeb so far. He's lost 1 probe with this Reaper.
That's not much.
Pulling back the hurt ones at the moment, and Stalker is out.
That's it, man.
And the Reaper's deflected.
That is
Oh, actually, Bunker finishing up with a Marine, and it's very annoying. I mean, that's not going to kill this natural, but it is annoying.
It is annoying. It's going to slow Neeb down a tiny bit, but shield batteries actually take care of this. This kind of stuff was a lot harder to deal with when you had to defend with a mothership core, but shield batteries are amazing. I like that Maru is actually working on that pylon, because that's going to force this shield battery to use a lot of its energy on that pylon. Neeb's going to have to repair his pylon. That's exactly what he does. There is an SCV in the mix as well. Maru could try to dodge a couple of these Stalker shots, but maybe he's distracted with something. I mean, this looks nice, and it's definitely very annoying, but I think Neeb should be all right here.
Oh, certainly needs to get another Stalker out here. Still in just the one gateway is Neeb. Warp gate's just begun. Second shield battery finishes, giving the Stalkers a lot more hit points to work with, but the pylon goes down, depowering the shield batteries for now, but there's the second one to repower it again. And Neeb's continuing to pick off units every time there's no room for them in the bunker here. Maru committing a lot of resources to this, by the way. He's rallying more Marines and more SCVs.
He's still not expanding, and that obviously, I mean, yeah, okay. It's actually going kind of well. I mean, maybe Neeb should have gone double shield battery against this immediately, but he felt he was fine with a single shield battery.
He's going up to 4.
Yeah, and at this point he's going to be okay. But there is a Cyclone out, and the moment that the Cyclone can make it to this side of the map and not a Stalker goes down, it almost feels like Neeb SimCity is working against himself. Yeah, wrong timing.
Maru.
Wrong timing.
Yeah, that was a mistake there from him. Down that goes. Here comes the Cyclone, though. If Neeb overextends, maybe he can pick one off, but no, I mean, Neeb is certainly in an alright spot here, man.
Love the barracks creating some high ground vision, but Maru doesn't want to overcommit, doesn't want to end up losing this Cyclone. Obviously, that was a pretty big investment by Neeb to keep the Nexus alive, but it was an even bigger investment by Maru. And Maru knows it. This is not going well. He was hoping for more. He wanted to maybe not get the Nexus, but maybe get a few more pros, maybe get a Stalker or 2, and actually keep that bunker alive until that first Cyclone show up. And it sounds like I'm really nitpicking right now, but something that a lot of Terran players do is when there's only 1 or 2 Stalkers, and we all know that Maru has the skills to do this, if 2 Stalkers shoot at an SCV and there is room in the bunker, you want to put that SCV in the bunker a couple of times. Like, I know that this sounds like nitpicking, but that actually makes a massive difference, because then, as a Protoss, you have to choose. Do I want to shoot at the SCV and then the shots get neglected, or do I want to shoot at the bunker? Every single time Neeb clicked on the SCV, he just picked up the SCVs. Maru is so freaking good, he made that too easy. He can do more to keep those SCVs alive and keep that bunker alive for a lot longer. And it may sound like a super small thing, but that really does make a massive difference when you go for builds like that.
And as a result, Maru's natural is super late here. And Neeb has got this Oracle out in the field, and with the Stargate tech, you also can potentially take out these Cyclones as well. If they overcommitted, you just get a Phoenix up there, pick them up, picking off the Stalker, and you see these SCV count not really where you want it to be. 32 SCVs against the 41 probes of Neeb. He's gearing up for a 3rd Nexus.
Maru is in trouble, man. Maru is in so much trouble. He's gonna end up losing a couple of SCVs as well because the Cyclones are out of position. Maybe the
he's got it.
Okay, the double lock will take care of the Oracle, so that is very nice. But I still really don't like his position.
Yeah, Neeb's going for Blink here, going up into the rest of the Stalkers' 3rd base. Oh, I think he started it and cancelled it and started again. The production tab might have been bugged out there.
Maybe he misplaced it, that's possible, I didn't see it. Now, I must say the one thing that Maru does have going for himself is that Neeb, his real tech units are actually very delayed. Like, that's only Blink that's starting now, and Blink is very good in buying time, and Blink is very good in being annoying, but we all know in the straight-up fight, you want to get some charge as well, so as soon as Maru moves out, Neeb is gonna have to buy quite some time for himself with the Stalkers and with stasis traps as well, but technically you can say he has all the tools to buy a lot of time, and charge actually finishes up very quick. But I would like to take a look at the Twilight Council just a couple of times, because I don't want to see Neeb skip the ball once on Chrono Boost. It's really important that he keeps refreshing this Chrono Boost over and over again, because I really think he needs both upgrades as quickly as possible.
Well, he's not chronoing everything right now. As you can see, the energy starting to pull up on the main base. Maru going for the Reacted Factory again, and it looks similar to Cyber Forest, where he wants to go for a big bio mine army with Medivacs to try and hit the probe line and also try and just bully and cut through a big Stalker force, which Neeb has. You know, he doesn't have splash damage, he doesn't have charge lots or anything like that. So a good bio force with +1 attack can absolutely deal with a surprising amount of Stalkers.
Yep, but Neeb also loves his Stalkers against heavy Widowmine armies. I still remember a game very vividly of WSG last year where he had a sick game against Uthermal, and I thought he was super dead because all he had was Blink Stalkers and he didn't have Zealous. And I'm like, man, Stalkers are just not good enough. And he was like, no, actually, I'm not that worried. I mean, Stalkers are amazing against Terran armies where, yeah, there is bio, but they mostly rely on the mines. And as long as I can avoid the mine shots and have a couple shield batteries to heal my Stalkers, Stalkers are actually pretty decent. The biggest problem here is that there are 2 tanks in the mix as well. Maru's gonna end up losing quite a few SCVs here because I don't think there is any anti-air in his main base. Neeb gets a medevac as well. This is awesome. Oh my goodness. Maru's tournament life is pretty much on the line with this push. And Neeb is buying time and he gets the medevac with 4 or 5 units inside of it as well.
Oh my god. That massive pickoff there, that might have been a misclick from Maru, letting up that medevac and he gets sniped immediately from Neeb. That's so huge! And now he has the freedom to run into the natural as well. Maru's in trouble. He's going for this third base. It's a pretty scary push. He's got the Cyclone, he's got the tank and the rocks as well. Doing damage on the back line.
Neeb should not do this with his Zealots. Those are slow Zealots. They are pretty much useless at this point, but Maru also knows that the Stalkers in his main base are doing absolutely insane amounts of damage. There's nothing to fight these Stalkers. Yes, Maru gets the Nexus and that's awesome, but he's down 20 workers and Neeb is not even done yet.
When you're on the production like this is the lifeline, this is the spine of the Terran, and if you rip it out, their lifeless body falls before you. He is all over the SCV line here. The SCVs of Maru bleeding out, bleeding dry, and his production camped by a lot of Stalkers. A blink on the medevac, taking out another one here. The Cyclones of Maru are going back home with these Marauders, and it looks like he will mop up these Stalkers. But look at this infrastructure. It's in shambles, Roddy. He's lost so many SCVs.
Yeah, that Oracle's still going. Actually, only has 8 kills. It feels like it's been 19 or something at this point. Okay, that's nice for Maru. So he will finally take care of that Oracle as well. Neeb is doubling Maru in workers, but guys, that's actually not as drastic as you would normally think it is, because he's doing this of 2 mineral lines. And yeah, there is a little bit of long distance mining, but the main base is heavily oversaturated. You guys can see that, 16 out of 8 or... Okay, so it's bad for Maru. It's really, really bad, guys. But this is not 100% over. Because Neeb needs his Nexus. If Neeb would have still had that Nexus, this game is over. You can wrap it up. At this point, I mean, I don't love Maru's position, obviously, and he has no medevacs, so he's going to have a hard time pushing out. But Neeb has to be a tiny bit careful as well.
Yeah, getting a little bit of chip damage here, picking off a Cyclone, picking off a couple of Widow Mines, thinning out Maru's army. Basically, these are losses that Maru can't really afford. If he manages to get a good army up in a good, strong position again with a good number of factory units, then maybe he can do the critical damage against Neeb. This active Blinkstalker army is actually still finding chip damage against Maru, but these tanks are keeping him at bay.
Can we take a look at that income graph? You know, that always shows what players have been mining. Nope, not that
the other one.
The one with control now. Yes, so you can see, this is what I mean. Is it like worker-wise, you're like, oh my god, Maru's 25 workers down, but he's actually mining slightly more because obviously he lost more workers, so he's got more minerals left as well in his first 2 bases, and he's got mules, so that heavy oversaturation of Neeb is not doing that much. These Blink Stalkers, however, are an absolute nuisance for Maru to deal with.
And I love what Neeb's doing here, just getting a ton of charge lots up, double forge upgrades as well being chrono boosted. And I think that's going to be the ticket here. Just a million charge lots, try and overwhelm this army, but he has to be careful of the Winter Mines.
Maru's tournament live on the line one more time with this push. And actually a lot of the units from Maru are still on the other side of the map. So if Neeb goes for it, Neeb seems to have more than enough. Even though those Winter Mine shots were very, very juicy. Maru, where are the rest of your units?
I've got first person Neeb cam here. Oh no, the tank is caught in the middle. That's going to die to this charge lots almost immediately here. The Wintermine does get some juicy connections there on the Zealots. Guardian Shield here just to mitigate a little bit of that damage. And Neeb's got quite a bit of money in the bank here as we're seeing, Roddy. He needs to get another big warp in and charge lots.
Yep, but you actually want to be a little bit careful because just Zealots often don't cut it. You really need some support fire as well. Oh my goodness. Oh, he only has like 8 gates. Chronobush, your gateways, Neeb. You gotta spend that money. He's like, I need to spend that money. So he's gonna actually get another Nexus. He's gonna warp in a few more gateways. Neeb knows that economically now with the 3-base economy, he's more than fine again, but he needs to survive a little bit longer.
These Archons are also going to be pretty important here. Shield battery as well from Neeb. Nice blink back against that Widowmine. Maru pressing the issue, and he needs to get really good damage here to be able to equalize things against Neeb, who still has an alright position.
Well, gets a medevac there, that's very nice. Gets a Widowmine as well. Maru actually up in supply a little bit, means his army is quite a bit bigger, but Neeb's extra gateways are finishing up. He's still warping in from 8 gateways. I mean, Maru, you're gonna need the absolute sickest micro body to pull this one out. He's getting good damage on these Stalkers, but the extra upgrades have kicked in as well. Neeb's got +2 armor now, and that makes a pretty big difference.
Maru just scanned and saw the 4th Nexus, and he knows that he's on a lifeline right now. The clock is ticking for this Terran.
He needs to keep, I mean, he's retreating. He's actually, wow. I mean, he does have a command center finishing up. He's getting a ghost economy, but
it's still so rough.
Yeah, with the upgrades, this is going to be very, very rough, and you're still down. The longer this game goes, the bigger that worker advantage of Neeb is obviously going to matter as well. Because now Maru is about to run low on minerals in his main base and soon in his natural as well. So even when he gets that 3-base economy, it's not a real 3-base economy anymore.
Yeah, and he's very Marauder heavy, so those charge lots with their 2-2 upgrades are still a huge threat. I mean, the Widowmines obviously could mitigate a lot of that. +3 armor is on the way here for Neeb.
It's all about the mines. I mean, Maru needs the sickest Widowmine connection. Basically, all of these Zealots need to disappear, and then Maru needs to kite for his life. He's gonna get a couple Ghosts. Now, obviously, Ghosts are pretty damn good against Zealots and Archons as well. Ghosts actually do quite a bit of damage. It's not just the EMP that's amazing. They're also very tanky, so that's very nice, because Zealots have a hard time taking out a Ghost. So the Ghost then can be healed by a medevac. They do a reasonable amount of damage, but these upgrades, Maynard, if Neeb gets +3, man, and I don't know. I really don't know what to do for Maru.
I like this as well. Breaking into this Rock, so could potentially go for a big surround. That tank position that Maru was using before is not really possible anymore. The tag on the Liberator also means they can't be used for harassment. Blink forward from Neeb. He picks up the Liberator's target, fires them down immediately. The charge loss running into these Marauders. The tanks, actually the Widowmines connect very, very well here with the Zealots, and a lot of them die. And Maru's going for the big pull. He's going for the Hail Mary.
Yeah, but a lot of the Zealots disappeared. His Bio Army is chasing it down. Force fields going down now as well. There are more and more Stalkers being wiped in. There is still 5 medevacs, so Maru can stim a few more times, but Maru needs to win. The upgrades are not in his favor. Can he do it, Maynard?
Oh, we'll see. All the SCVs are about to go down. The last few SCVs also going down. Neeb being pushed in the corner here. He's got no shield battery to fall back to. It's getting a little bit rough. We might need a recall here.
Oh, he's got Stalkers and he's got an Archon, but he just wiped in 9 Zealots. I don't know where those 9 Zealots are coming from. He recalls the army as well. Maru, he knows that this is it. He needs to take out his army. He needs to take out his base to keep his tournament dreams alive.
Widowmine's connecting with these Zealots. They kill a lot of them. In fact, the Zealot line is gone. Justice heard Archon and EMP on the Archon as well. Shield battery can't heal that thing up. Another big warp in of Blink Stalkers from Neeb.
Oh, the Suicide Oracle as well. I think Neeb's economy is just too much, Maynard.
I think he's done all the right decisions in this map so far, Roddy, and I think he might be rewarded for it here. The Ghosts are joining in, but not enough energy to mitigate the battle anymore. Maru losing these Ghosts. He knows it. He knows it's over. Neeb is all over him here. More charge slots coming on in. GG! Neeb making history with a 2-1 victory over Maru, the 3-time GSL back-to-back-to-back champion. What a series from Neeb.
Wow. Just wow, Maynard. Neeb improves his record to 2-1 in this round of 24. And Maru, yes guys, Maru is 0-3 in this group. In no universe would have ever predicted Maru to start this group 0-3. His map score is looking very, very rough as well. He's 2-6 at this point. I mean, I'm not going to say it's 100% impossible, but he definitely needs a 2-0, a 2-0, and then he needs luck from other results as well. It seems highly unlikely, and the chance of Maru being eliminated is incredibly big.
Oh man, who would have thought it would come down to this? Well, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, it's going to be an interview with our winner, Neeb. See you then.